Hey everybody, welcome back. So it's been a hot minute since I've done a video, and we have a little injury to the truck, so I figured this was as good a time as any to do something for you. And if any of you have experienced this, where you've used your tailgate a million times, and all of a sudden you just go and pull on the handle, and it just pulls, nothing releases, nothing is engaging. You can rock the tailgate back and forth, nothing's happening. The most common issue with those is there's a little plastic kind of a lever that activates the two, I guess you would call them, I don't know, maybe they're called pawls or levers. They go in opposite direction and they pull in the latches from each side of your tailgate, allows your tailgate to drop. So that little plastic piece will break. I went and bought a third party latch from off of Amazon for $12.98. The alternative was the original GM part out of Rock Auto for $80. Now I buy all my GM parts for things like ignition, electrical, for my two GM vehicles from Rock Auto. This is not an electrical issue, so I figured, you know what, if this is the original latch and it lasted 21 years, $12.98 for a replacement. If I get 2 years out of it, I'm still ahead of the game rather than spending 80. So I've already dropped the tailgate. Let me show you what the part looks like. Don't think I'm going to be needing this part because I already did a quick inspection. This is what the latch looks like. So it comes with the hole for your lock assembly. So you would just take your original lock assembly, and actually you probably just leave it where it is and just set this over it. But this latch, you see this plastic head right here? This is the piece that breaks. And that's what activates this spring-loaded piece. And then the two arms that attach through the tailgate and provide the little latches that lock on the outside of your tailgate. They would move independently back and forth this way to lock, and then when you activate this, it actually pulls them in. So those little tabs come in. I spared you the dirty details of getting into the back of the tailgate. I was going to set up a camera inside and show you how I take off the bed liner piece, but I just wanted to get the tailgate. I figured it would be easier to get the tailgate down and show a camera from a top view. So let me spin this around. We'll give you a top view of what's here. And I don't think I actually need this part because it doesn't look like that little plastic piece is broken. So let me spin this around and we'll give you another view and we'll be right back. So here is my opened tailgate. Many of you may not have one of these. I believe this was a dealer installed. It's called STK liner bed. You may have some like a Duraliner. If you don't have one of these, you don't have to worry about this first step, but there are 2 screws on each corner, so it's 4 screws total, and then 4 screws in the center, and this just slides right out, this cover, and that will reveal to you this inside cover. This is the access panel. When I opened this up, obviously the tailgate was closed. I took this off, and this panel was lying loose down in here. And I think that is the culprit. This should be screwed in and secured in order to keep this from popping up and down. And I think from all the years of slamming, however many years this has been off, I don't know, I couldn't tell you. This was my dad's truck originally. So this access panel was down in here, and it doesn't look like that little plastic piece that I showed you from the replacement handle. This piece right here, this little nubbin or finger, doesn't look like that one is broken on here. So what I think I need to do is use this new assembly and figure out the way the springs are situated, and then just get everything back in place and get this access panel on. Maybe I'll have to use some, because the original screws aren't here, maybe find some self-tappers or something and get that access panel on, and I think that's going to remedy my issue. However, I will show you the screws and everything. I think it's only 3 screws if you had to remove the old latch assembly. Looks like there's two, it's not even screws, 1, 2, 3 nuts, and that assembly would come out. You would have to keep your original lock assembly, which is right here, for your key, and that would be about it. So let me see if I can wrangle up a different view, and I'll show you what I'm going to get into here, and we'll take a look. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as luck would have it, my theory was incorrect, or was partly correct. The little plastic finger that they say usually breaks is still intact right here. However, when I looked inside, this spring was kind of just flopping around in a breeze in here. And once I remove these rods, and if I could do that without busting anything, I will show you what's actually broken. Alright, so I did most of the dirty work already. Basically, these clips that are on here, I really want to be careful to save this one. Even though I don't lock my tailgate, I'd like to have this operational just in case. But in case I can't and I break this piece, I don't care. The tumbler can stay in there. I don't lock the tailgate anyway. But the secret to these is you just want to get a screwdriver wedged in between here, this plastic, between the plastic and the metal rod, and then twist it just a little bit. It gets the clip off the rod, then the rod will slip out. So this assembly is out. This is the piece that's broken. So that's what did the job. So probably from years of slamming it and bouncing around without having the cover over it probably caused that. So that piece is attached. That's this piece right here that has this mainspring. That's why this mainspring was just kind of just floppy. And you can even see this spring too for, I guess this is the return spring that goes in here as you open this up, or you operate the latch. So here's one side. You can see this spring activated on the opposite side to open your latch. Here's the other rod. Okay, so it's a little sticky. We'll grease that up while we're in here, but right now I have to take these three, I guess these are bolts, looking like a 10 mil maybe. So let's try that. See if that's a 10 mil. It is indeed a 10 mil. So ratchet handle. We need a ratchet handle. So I'll take these out. Very loosey-goosey there. But I guess for 24 years old, that's what you get. So stick my hand under here just in case this starts to fall out. There's one. This is our lock assembly. It's two. There is our lock assembly. And here is number 3. So despite being hidden away, you would think it's kind of hard to get to. It's pretty easy to get to. And pretty easy to work on. And there is our old busted Chevrolet latch. So you can see the new one, same texture. Now, is it going to last 24 years? Probably not, but it's got the same gasket. Let's see if this is a GM on here. SAE PP22. I would guess that's original equipment because it's got a chalk mark from the assembly line on it, or from the plant. So yeah, it looks like a GM part number right there. So I got 21 years out of it. Now let's make sure this gasket is in place. We don't want things leaking in here and rusting out if we can avoid it. I'd like to get more than 2 years out of it if this third party, Chinese made, Taiwan made, wherever it's from. we'd like to make that last. So put this in. Got that in the right way? I do. Let's see. I guess it's got to come up here first. Come up past here. There we go. Uh-oh. Houston, we have a problem. No, we don't. I am the problem. Alright, so that looks correct. Get this bolt started. Get this bolt started. Okay. And then this is for our lock assembly, and this piece here has to come out. So I wonder if I can just get some pliers and maybe I can get that rod out without breaking that. Oh, look at that. Came right up. So now we can squeeze this. Make sure it stays. Too bad I don't have my key available. Let's put this down here. This is going to lock in here. Alright, so there's our lock assembly back on. And put the bolt in. I'm just going to snug it. I'm not going to tighten it all the way until I get the other two linkage pieces in. Alright, so just make that snug. And then have to get this in there, and then get this piece locked over it. So there's another one. Wow, easier than I thought it was going to be, really. And then this one looks like it goes in between those little fingers, and then this is going to slide over the top. Can't be that simple. It just can't be. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. I'm pulling on the handle. Everything she's working, so let me tighten it up. And I guess all I may have to do is when I lift the tailgate up just to see how the assembly fits in the opening of the tailgate. I might have to make a small adjustment there, but that's minor. This bolt is longer than I thought. Don't want to get crazy tight because this is a pretty, it's not fragile, but it's kind of cheap piece. Let's see how that feels from the other side. Well, that looks like everything's working. Let me turn this camera around. We'll get the tailgate up and see if it actually works. Here we are, back with our tailgate closed. And what do you think? You think it's going to work? There you have it. Easy as that. I don't know if you can see this on camera, but it fits a little wonky. I think maybe a couple of more turns, or maybe just loosen those bolts up a little bit, get a little bit more of an adjustment. I did try the key. I don't think that tumbler really ever worked. So No skin off my nose. I never locked it anyway, so good thing that it's in the open position. At least I know how to access it just in case it accidentally locks on me. But now I just need to go back and put everything back together. Put the access panel back on. Maybe get a little lube in here, especially on the outside of the tailgate where those pins retract. Make sure that they're lubed up pretty well so that this isn't being abused. And it closes pretty easily. 2 clicks, done. So that, my friends, is how you change the tailgate latch for your 2004 to 2012 Chevy Colorado. Mine is a 4-cylinder version. I'm sure the 5-cylinder version may have similar. You're going to have to look at the specs because there's, I guess some do not have a key tumbler in them. They are also available, or the same unit would fit on certain years of GMC Canyon and certain models of a Isuzu pickup as well. So easier than I thought, 4 bolts or 3 bolts and a few clips. And me, being the dummy that I am, thinking that the internal cover plate was actually loose was something that I did inadvertently, wasn't thinking. The bed liner, it's on the tailgate, those 4 screws in the center, they actually go through not only the bed liner but into that cover plate. So when I remove those screws, that naturally loosened the cover plate. So I did manage to find some replacement screws because some of them were rusty. And everything's back together. So thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and stopping by. I hope you're all doing well, and I'll see you in the next video.